Democrats do take over the House, it's just going to be investigation mania. They're going to do oversight. They could impeach you again. I mean, do you think they will?
Well, a lot of people are saying I'm one of the greatest presidents ever.
They're not saying that, though.
But they know, they see the results.
I mean, Caroline, this is a real question of whether the president is here with us on Earth One or if he is on a different political planet.
I think Judge Sherman. But Donald Trump is saying we're living in the golden age. If anyone asked, I should get 150% on my, exam, and you're like, if you understood economics, you would understand why you can't get 150%. I think the thing is that what we need to ask is, does Donald Trump even really understand what's going on? Does he not understand the economy is bad? Does he not understand that he's losing the war? Is it that just no one has the balls to give him bad news, so he really truly doesn't understand? We know he doesn't.
Welcome back to Political Crossfire, where we break down the biggest political debates. Tonight, Donald Trump's golden age claim collides with some uncomfortable economic numbers on Abby Phillip CNN panel. With Republicans facing growing pressure ahead of the midterm elections, the discussion turns to Trump's approval rating, the cost of living, jobs, inflation, tariffs, struggling American farmers, and the ongoing war with Iran. Trump insists Americans aren't angry with him. They're angry with Republicans and argues that the United States is experiencing an economic golden age, but Abby Phillip and the panel immediately start asking whether that picture matches what American families are actually experiencing. When the conversation moves from political messaging to jobs, wages, groceries, housing, gas prices, farm bankruptcies, and Ford, Trump's defenders are forced to explain why so many voters remain deeply concerned about the economy. We're going to break down the most intense moments from this Abby Phillip CNN debate, separate the arguments from the facts, and examine what all of this could mean for Trump, Republicans, Democrats, and the upcoming midterm elections. If you enjoy CNN political debates and straight-to-the-point political commentary, subscribe to Political Crossfire and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss the next debate. Let's get into it.
President Trump has a lot on his plate. A dismal jobs number coming out today, the ongoing war with Iran, a tanking approval rating, and a midterm lineup that's boosting Democrat momentum. So it's no wonder that Republicans have the jitters this November, but Trump doesn't seem to care.
If I don't run, will those people go out and vote? And that's the one thing I can't tell. I'm going to ask them to, but I'm just watching guys like you, and you're very talented people. The question is, will they vote? Because a lot of them are very angry at Republicans, to be honest with you. They're
Why is that?
I don't know. I mean, they're angry at Republicans, but they're not angry at me.
Thing. Why?
They're not angry at me, but they are angry at Republicans.
Right now, Republicans are trailing Democrats on the generic ballot by 8 points. Democrats also have a 20-point advantage among those who say that they're extremely motivated to vote. And 63% of Republican voters say that their own party is not focusing enough on cost of living issues, something that remains top of mind for most Americans. And in addition to all of that, there are new signs of cracks in the economy, and it's likely to add to Republicans' anxiety. A new report shows that the U.S. actually lost jobs in July to the tune of 23,000. Job gains in the previous months were also revised down. The unemployment rate ticked down slightly, largely because of people leaving the workforce. But things are just rosy in Trump's eyes.
When I see polls on the economy, I should have 150%, not 100%.
Well, yeah.
Because we have the greatest. This is the golden age of America. What's being built now in this country has never, ever been built. And we are literally in the golden age of America.
The president, he insists that he is not the problem. He insists that the economy is doing great, that Americans are not mad at him, even though his approval rating has only been lower after the January 6th insurrection. So is he just completely blind to what's happening here, or is he just putting on a positive face for the reporter?
Well, you did paint a rather abysmal picture of Republicans as we go into the midterm elections, and the saving grace is that the Democrats have their own set of problems. But what President Trump said today really is mystifying, because he does care. He does care about the midterm elections. He cares about whether there's going to be a Democrat Congress or Senate next year, because it impacts what he can do and whether his whole agenda is blocked or not. So he does care. The question is, how can he turn the fortunes around and have a successful midterm election? He's making a mistake by attacking GOP senators. John Thune needs to be his friend. John Cornyn, he's alienated. Bill Cassidy, he's alienated. Those two senators that he opposed in the primary. And so he's paying a price for bad relations with the Senate that he needs to rectify. We need to be on the same team as we go into the fall election.
Yeah, and we'll talk about this later, but I mean, he attacked Lisa Murkowski today. I mean, I think it also raises the question, is Trump even, I mean, there are things he could do that would make this better. He doesn't seem to be interested in doing them.
No, that's him getting off the ship. I mean, like, Donald, what I believe him. What he just said, I think that that's true. I think that if there's somebody that's going to take the fall for the problems in the country right now that are based around the policies of Donald Trump, it's going to be anybody but Donald Trump. You see it all the time. You see Republicans, sometimes high-profile Republicans, want to criticize the president, but they won't. They'll criticize the people that are advising him. They'll criticize everyone around him. But no criticism for him, that's because it's religion. You can't get angry at God. It's everybody else's fault. So that, to me, if I was a Republican, which I'm not and never would be, but if I was one of them, I would be very concerned about being abandoned by the most powerful force in the entire party, listening to him talk right there.
But it also makes sense that people are angry with Republicans. Like, Trump's probably right. They're not mad at him. That's why people think it's a cult. He has a get-out-of-jail-free card that the Republican Party doesn't have. But I think people are justifiably, understandably, upset at Republicans because they are the ones with the power to rein him in, to say no to the war, to the cuts in health care, to the terrible people that he put in charge of the DOD or the HHS or the Justice Department. But they do nothing, and that's why we have multiple foodborne illnesses and a full-blown war in the Middle East, and we're letting child rapists walk free because he's allowing it to go forward. They could stop him. They don't do it, and I think that's why people are upset with Republicans, and I think that's why we need to be really serious in November about who we put into power.
So in this interview, Jake Sherman kind of just plainly told the president, hey, look, if Democrats take over, you're going to be on the menu in terms of investigations. And here's what the president said.
If Democrats do take over the House, it's just going to be investigation mania. You know, they're going to do oversight. They could impeach you again. I mean, do you think they will?
Well, a lot of people are saying I'm one of the greatest presidents ever.
They're not saying that, though.
But they know, they see the results.
I mean, Caroline, this is a real question of whether the president is here with us on Earth One or if he is on a different political planet.
I think Judge Sherman is correct that the investigations are going to come pretty fast and furious, which is why it's, I think, especially frustrating for so many Republicans because he's going to be a lame duck on steroids. And that's why it's also so disappointing that many voters, including his base, feel like he has squandered the economic promises that he made. The fact is that the Iran war, the prosecution of it, has been pretty bipolar. And I think that has unfortunately trickled down to a very shaky economy, or at least that's the sentiment of people. But I want to dive into that a little bit more because the polling on this has been confusing. Now, the economy still definitely looms largest for voters, and they can't be faulted for that, right? It's the economy stupid. It's still the correct mantra to have. But there was a recent poll just a few days ago by Navigator Research that found that over 60% of respondents actually say that their personal financial situation is thriving. It's excellent or good, while only 30% of respondents said that the economy is excellent or good. That's a pretty big gap. But I think we should step back and ask ourselves, okay, so people are saying that in their individual households, their daily lives, they're actually doing quite well. They're thriving, but when you take the macro story into account and all of the things that are going on in the economy zooming out, they somehow are very doom and gloom.
That was true in the Biden years.
Yeah.
I mean, I remember those polls because I used to look at them too. It literally, voters would say, hey, me and my family were doing okay, but I think the economy kind of sucks. But here's the big difference between then and now. The jobs picture, look at the jobs picture from the last year, okay? We lost 23,000 jobs in the last month, but look at how many times we've been in the negative in the last 12 months, right? And it's worse than that. Wage growth has been eclipsed by inflation. When you look deeper, People are leaving the workforce. The Trump administration, they want to say it's all immigrants being deported, but it's also Americans leaving the workforce, the unemployment rate for Americans going up. So the actual difference is that under Biden, the job picture was actually much better than it is right now. That's the reality.
Yeah, but people kept saying, but we're not feeling it. We're not feeling it. Now people really are feeling the actual pain. But Donald Trump is saying we're living in the golden age. If anyone asked, I should get 150% on my, exam. And you're like, if you understood economics, you would understand why you can't get 150%. I think the thing is that what we need to ask is, does Donald Trump even really understand what's going on? Does he not understand the economy is bad? Does he not understand that he's losing the war? Is it that just no one has the balls to give him bad news, so he really truly doesn't understand? We know he doesn't care about the environment or public health or parks or anything. Groceries is a made-up word. But is he so completely out of touch with what's really going on?
I mean, this is Kevin Hassett. And he's talking about the job numbers and claiming, well, if you just take out all the bad numbers, this is a good jobs report.
The weakness in this number were really just two things: government workers and a sort of rebound from all the employment we got from the World Cup, because the World Cup was ending. And so if you throw out the World Cup and the government workers, we actually had a number that was about plus 100,000.
I'm sorry, that's not how this works.
One thing positive that he needs to do. For right now, there's a 46% increase in farm bankruptcies across the United States of America. Arkansas, my state, leads the nation, regretfully, in farm bankruptcies. They're hurting out there, and yet we have not been able to pass a farm bill. If the President of the United States could help work with the senators and pull this together and have on his desk a farm bill that is signed, that Biden couldn't get passed, it's been delayed, that would be a stroke of genius. It would be helpful to the economy and would mean something. That's the kind of thing he can do. Obviously, the question of whether he will or not, but that's what he needs to do.
Let's back it up, though, and ask why. Let's back it up and ask why the farmers are all struggling. Why
are tariffs?
Yeah, and who put in the tariffs?
He did it to them.
So he did it to them, and then we have bailed him out a bunch of times.
I don't think the governor's going to disagree with you on that one.
To Kevin Hassett's point, the manufacturing sector did grow in the jobs numbers.
Slightly, but we're still at a 4-year low for manufacturing.
But I mean, okay, but it did grow, and also
it went up
I think it's historically
marginally again. But we are on a downward slope for manufacturing jobs in the last 4 years.
We're going back and forth, like talking about whether or not we can juke the stats on this. The overall sentiment of people in America right now is that they are not being governed properly.
Well, they're not being.
They are completely disillusioned by what they're seeing happening in foreign wars, like domestically here with the economy. A lot of these errors are unforced errors, like completely unforced errors based on failed policies and bad ideas.
And divided government.
Well, without a doubt. But here's the thing about.
But I mean, I don't even know. I mean, you say divided government, but Trump has not put forward an economic agenda to Congress, period.
Without a doubt. No, what he tries to do,
the Big Beautiful Bill did extend the 2017 tax cuts, which delivered real wage growth
if he had
to
left
America's
it at that,
households.
It would be a completely different picture.
I agree that the tariff strategy was not smart. It was very imprudent also to launch new ones against Canada just as the midterms are looming. But I don't think he gets enough credit for the deregulation that he put in place right off the bat when he took office. Now, I know Democrats like to sit in this affordability platform. They throw this out as like a cover.
Why do you say it with an accent? Like affordability is important to people.
What does affordability mean? What does affordability mean?
Listen, at the end of the day, it's not about defining
affordability. Is about
can people afford their food? Can people afford their car payment? Can people afford their rent?
We've been talking about a lot of numbers,
the equation of affordability is productivity and innovation.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is.
No, it's not.
That is how you unlock
affordability is in the aisles at farms and routes and stuff like that.
Affordability is what that box of cereal costs.
Yeah, that's what that is.
Yes, and how do you get there?
Affordability is how much it costs you to put gas in your car. That's what affordability is.
How do you get there?
And healthcare.
Innovation and productivity has nothing to do with the gas prices that
What are you talking about?
What stands out most here is how quickly Donald Trump tries to separate himself from the problems surrounding his own party. He says voters are angry with Republicans, but not with him. That is a convenient distinction to make when you are the person setting the direction of the party, shaping the agenda, and defending the policies Republicans are being asked to carry into the midterms. If the economy is struggling, if voters are worried about Ford, if farmers are getting squeezed, and if Republicans are nervous about November, eventually somebody has to take responsibility for the decisions that helped create those conditions. And that brings us to Trump's claim that America is living through a golden age. That is a very difficult message to sell when people are still worried about groceries, housing, healthcare, gas prices, and whether their jobs are secure. You can point to individual statistics that look positive, but families do not experience the economy through charts on television. They experience it every time they open their banking app, pay rent, buy food, or fill up their car. The conversation about jobs made that disconnect even clearer. The panel highlighted weak employment numbers, downward revisions, Americans leaving the workforce, and inflation eating into wage gains. So when Trump says everything is going incredibly well, the obvious question becomes, good for whom? The same applies to farmers. If farm bankruptcies are rising while tariffs are making certain parts of the economy more difficult to navigate, then politicians cannot simply celebrate the policy and ignore the people absorbing the consequences. And then there is the war with Iran. At a time when Americans are already concerned about the cost of living, the government is committing enormous resources to another conflict in the Middle East. Whatever someone thinks about the military justification, voters are absolutely entitled to ask what this will cost, how long it will continue, and whether the administration has a clear strategy for getting out. That is why this debate matters beyond one bad jobs report or one CNN panel. Trump is telling Americans that the country is thriving. His critics are pointing to jobs, prices, farmers, war spending, and public frustration and saying the reality looks very different. Those two stories cannot both describe the same country forever. And as the midterms get closer, Republicans may have an even bigger problem if Trump continues insisting that every failure belongs to somebody else while every success belongs to him. And if you enjoy sharp, fact-based breakdowns of the biggest political clashes, please subscribe to Political Crossfire and turn on the notification bell so you never miss a new video. What do you think? Who made the stronger argument? Share your opinion below and subscribe to Political Crossfire for more political debates and analysis.